And we're live! Hi, fellow adventurers and curious souls alike. That did not go very well. I'm out of practice. Today it's time for the fourth death stream, the first stream in 2024. Here on Embercast, I am live with two perhaps new faces to the stream, but definitely no newcomers to Brightstar. They have been here for even longer than me. Please, gentlemen, if you would introduce yourselves.
Hello, hello. My name is Oliver. I'm a gameplay programmer here at Brightstar and have been here for a little over 2.5 years now. So not a new face indeed.
And I'm Jesse. I'm also a gameplay programmer here, but I work remote from the Netherlands. I joined a little month after Oliver.
Exactly. Thank you so much to be here, guys. I've been looking forward to having you on this stream for ages, it feels like, since we started it back last year. And also, guys, it is just so good to be back. This is a new year. There's a lot of exciting things. It is perhaps even the craziest year we're going to have yet here on the Ember Sword journey. As always, I'm your humble host, aka Game Master, lead community manager of Ember Sword. I'm here to take you on this wonderful journey and ask your burning questions to these brilliant programmers. So let's go through. You can see the agenda down below, the table of content. As always, when we have these developer streams, we want to know a little bit about you guys, talk about your journey, how you came to be a Brightstar, how you're enjoying your life as a Brightstar, and your journey to becoming a game programmer. Then we have a little main segment of today called Cats, Craft, and Code. Kind of self-explanatory, but we'll go through that segment and talk about... And there we have a lot of updates as well. We're not going to play Ember Sword today, but we have some screenshots and some clips and some montages that we want to show that you hope you're going to like and can maybe keep you sated for a little while before the next time we get to play the game. Other than that, we have a giveaway, of course, so stay tuned for that. When we get to that giveaway, I'll explain what you can do, but everybody who is in chat can win. It's a 1-year Nitro subscription to Discord. At the end, we have a Q&A, of course, as always. Really looking forward to it. What has happened since we streamed? Well, a lot has happened, but I think one thing I really want to dial in on, because it kind of happened at the wake of the Ultra Deep, where it maybe a lot of other pieces of content was happening. An amazing diorama was made, and if you don't know what a diorama is, because I actually didn't when it was pitched to me, it's like an arena that was made, real arena, made with Shark, with the Ember Boy and the Ember Girl, which I think is still their residential names, fighting Shark in this arena. And let's actually, instead of talking about it, let's just show the little clip about the diorama, because it's incredible. Isn't that just amazing? I mean, my favorite thing, I don't know if you noticed, guys, if it was the first time you saw it, but there's like a moment where he has like Shark's hand and he just kind of whips it off like at the end with a knife. I just like that subtle movement. I don't know, we'll maybe play it later. It's like if I had done that, I would have ruined it. And it seems like a first take, because how would you do that take again, right? If you completely ruin his arm. I don't know, love it. Definitely some sleight of hand there. Thank you to the wonderful creators of the diorama. I'm not sure if it actually landed in the Copenhagen office, but I know it was moving towards the Copenhagen office to be there. I want to thank the community for questions that you've submitted for today. And then let's get to it. So, perhaps Oliver first, if you would please introduce yourself in a little bit more detail to the community, your role, how long you've been with us, and everything in between.
Absolutely. So, as with all good journeys, we got to start at the beginning. So as a kid, I was always quite competitive, and I did a lot of sports, and only really did gaming as a little fun thing. But then, like as games became bigger and better, and new esports titles came out, I essentially ended up seeing myself transitioning from sports into esports instead, dedicating way more time than I guess my parents had in mind to esports than sports. And that definitely shows today. Doing anything as physical as making that diorama, like, no chance. But it did make me think about like what I wanted to spend 8 hours a day, as I envisioned my job would be in the future. So in about 8th grade, I decided that, well, I like playing games. I should just spend my time making them. So I looked into how do I even get there, and I found the universities in Denmark that actually supported that kind of journey, if you will. And I pretty much just hard set my vision on that from the get go. So I really went through school to high school to the university that I had envisioned. Did the bachelor I had planned since the 8th grade, and did the masters I had planned for since the 8th grade. And I guess that did land me making games today. So that's pretty lucky. Uh, Outside of that, I guess during my education into games, I started teaching myself C++ and started working with engines such as Unreal Engine, if any of you know that, and started making small games and participating in game jams. And that's really what led me to Brightstar, where I am today.
Before we get into your journey, Jesse, I just have to point out, Oliver, that sounds so planned when you say it. Like, it sounds like you just got this meticulous game plan, and you just navigated your life like since 8th grade. It's probably more chaotic than that, but I love how planned it sounds. Oh my god, that's
my
incredible.
game has been a strategy game from the get-go.
Yes.
That's my life.
Gaming the life, gamifying your life, right? That's about it. And I think a lot of people probably here in chat as well, and viewers can like see themselves in that, like especially our generation. I think going from sport to esports, right? Probably many went through that transition in their late teens, and like, okay, this is almost as competitive or more competitive than sports, right? It's got that element to it, so that makes a lot of sense. And Jesse, how about you?
Yeah, so I didn't quite plan it in a similar way. For me, as a teen, I couldn't like quite decide what to do, like lots of people at that age, right? So I just decided, okay, I'll just start studying game design / development, for the simplest reason, you know, I played games. So I learned about game design, game programming, and some game art and some software development in the study. And at this point in time, I also met Mark in Mountain Blade. That's almost 10 years ago at this point. So I don't believe Brightstar was there yet or anything planned like this. And well, the first year actually was quite tough. So you had to get the grasp on programming, but down the line you start to learn it. And you kind of get like this, like you see the light, you know how to program. Suddenly it's really strange, but down the line I was really happy with the education. And after this, I decided, okay, I'll just kind of continue this direction. So I started my bachelor in game programming. That was a great time. Did lots of projects with groups and made lots of game projects. Then I graduated and I landed a job in making bots for a year or so. It wasn't quite the job I envisioned getting right off the bat after doing game programming, but it was still pretty fun. And also in the end, it kind of triggered my inner likeness for AI. So I did a lot of things regarding AI and procedural generation and stuff during my study. And I started my master of AI right after this job during the COVID period. And then shortly after, I ended up at Brightstar Studios, actually.
That's awesome. Let's not talk too much about the COVID period. Still too soon. But I mean, now I can't help envision that Mark also planned Bright Star at 8th grade, like Oliver. He was like, okay,
Yes.
you know, and I don't want to mention how many years apart that would be because Mark would be after me. But like, Mark is very young, we all know. But he said in 8th grade, I'm gonna make Ember Sword, I'm gonna make Bright Star, I'm gonna found the studio. What is it about seeing the light? I've heard programmers saying that before, and I've actually had you cannot. You know me, and you don't know I have a bachelor in programming probably because it doesn't sound like that when I talk about programming. But I have a bachelor in something close to programming, and I never saw the light. What is it with that sense in seeing the light? How did you see the light in programming? Why didn't that happen to me, Jesse?
I don't know, man. It's a really strange phenomenon. I also only know about it because I think back to it, right? Because I wouldn't have known back then.
No.
And like in the first grade, I had some issues getting learning programming and stuff, and it just feels like it's a walk up a hill, like super steep hill.
Exactly.
And at that point, I also was considering just stopping with the study at the time because it was such a steep hill.
Well, I'm happy you didn't.
But eventually, yeah, I'm also really happy I didn't. But eventually, it just kind of clicked, and that's what I mean with seeing the light.
Did you also see the light, Oliver?
Do you see the light?
So I guess you could say that I did that in 8th grade, kind of like that, but it was kind of like meeting your heroes kind of moment, because what actually ended up happening to me was that when I finally got to my bachelor and my master's, really it wasn't what I envisioned, and I thought I would be learning a lot more than I was, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wasn't happy about it, because you meet a lot of good people, right?
Yeah, you do.
But I was also pretty burned out in the end, so it's not as glamorous as maybe I made it sound.
It's not as planned as exactly. But that's true.
Planned, yeah.
Networking is super important. Like that's what somebody who hasn't gone through education like that maybe don't understand it. But it's like a lot to education is networking, right? As it was with many things in life, right? But networking is super important, and you're like, you maybe don't know what you're doing, but you make that network, right? And you get to learn a lot of amazing people. How did you then, Jesse, you talked about it a little bit, but like connect the threads here. How do you then get into Bright Star from that?
Yeah, so this is really a connection I made back in the days, right? I mentioned I met Mark 10 years ago. I just got in contact with Mark completely out of the blue, just to get up with him, to see how he's doing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they were looking for a gameplay programmer, and I was like, well, I know. I did a bachelor in gameplay programming. I got some, why not?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've seen the light. Pick me.
Yeah, pick me. So, I applied for this position, and then, got the interview, the technical test, and whatnot. And, well, now I'm here for a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Oliver?
Well, so I mentioned that I was burned out after my studies. So I had actually envisioned myself just taking a little bit of a break that I hadn't given myself yet. So just kind of taking like 4 or 5 months, just completely recharging my energy. But the thing is, I still had to get employment benefits. And in order to do that, you have to search 2 jobs a week, basically.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. You can easily do that, in my opinion. But I guess I didn't try Mount and Blade for job hunting back then. But what I did found was that LinkedIn had this nice feature called Easy Apply.
Yeah.
And essentially, all I had to do was upload my CV, right? And 2 times a week, all I had to do to get my employment benefits was to click 2 buttons and then log that. So that's what I did, right? And really, like, a lot of these jobs were like, I applied them knowing like there's no chance that I'm getting this anyway.
Yeah.
And one weekend, it's a Friday night, I'm about to head out, meet some friends. I realize I haven't searched my jobs yet. So I quickly go into LinkedIn. There's these 2 jobs in Aarhus.
Yeah.
And I live in Copenhagen. And maybe for the people that are not in Denmark, those 2 cities are pretty far apart for Denmark perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, there's no chance they're actually going to move forward with me because I'm not even close to where they want to hire people. And I apply there. And Sunday, I get a call, and immediately my brain is just like, this is just telemarketing. I let it ring. I don't pick it up.
That's such a
And,
classic. Yeah.
I'm like, no chance.
No chance.
So a few minutes later, I get a message, which is from, I don't know if he has ever been on stream, but from Sven, an employee from Brightstar.
Shout out
and
to Sven.
then, yeah, shout out to Sven. That they want to talk to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll call them back, and they want to set up a interview, and I do. And at this point, I'm like, okay, who are Brightstar Studios even?
Yeah.
I just applied for fun, right? So I looked them up, and they're actually making an MMO in the browser that looks really cool. So I decide, well, okay, I'm just gonna do the interview. I'm gonna, if I get it, that's pretty good. If I don't, it's all according to plan. And
Yes.
There is no losing situation here. It's just a win.
Win-win. I love the
Win-win
gamification
right
angle.
there.
Yeah.
And I have an interview with Joris, and after that I was hired. So I called my dad, and I told him I got a job, and he just laughed right back at me.
He was like, "This is telemarketing."
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah.
So lucky in hindsight, honestly. And I know Joris has coined it that I tried so hard not to get a job that I got one, which I think is pretty accurate.
I can almost hear Yoris say that. That sounds like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think it was lucky though. No, obviously luck was part of it, but I know Yoris enough, and I know enough of the programming skill in Brightstar that not many make it through that technical test, right? So I just want to say right off the bat, guys, these two brilliant masterminds, it was not luck who placed them in Brightstar building your game. I definitely don't think so. I know that they're very good in their craft. Guys, we have some important community questions. By the way, first of all, I see some names I recognize in chat. Sornichi. Hello, Sornichi. Hello, Franken. Hello, Isidorf. Also a lot of names that I don't recognize off the bat, but it's so good to have you here. So, two monumental questions in the community that you have to answer right. This is the most important thing of all the stream. If you do this correctly, we're done. What nation do you belong to? And let's start with you, Oliver. Let's put you in the hot seat.
Well, gotta start with the win, right? So I'm in Ediso, which I know vibes pretty well.
Yes.
And I think I credit that to my Danish and Icelandic roots.
Yeah.
So I think the inner Viking in me is speaking for itself right there.
That makes a lot of sense, and what a good choice. Not biased at all. How about you, Jesse? Huh?
Well, currently I'm actually a Dusker, and the reason why is that the team of Duskon actually really appealed to me. I love the scrapyard, junkyard vibes.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
I love how you say currently. Are you planning to shift?
Maybe,
You just got a lot of enemies from picking Duskrun, but now the Duskers also got to hate at you because you said currently. I know, it's okay.
I'm getting some messages right now. I'm gonna maybe. Nah.
No, I've actually been a Dusker myself for some time, so I get it. I get it. As a second pick, it's not that bad. And I think Joris is a Dusker as well. A Sandfather, I believe he's called among the Duskers. So Dusker. All right. Jesse, what NPC would you then be in game?
Yeah, so I found this a pretty hard question actually, but I think since I'm also in Duskuon, I would probably be inside one of the Sawbots. Maybe the one of the Sawbots that can actually kill players, like Steel Slice, Did some good work on you, for example.
Yes, thank you, by the way, for that. Thank you. So now I'm just imagining like the evil furnace and you sitting inside him. Yeah. Did you kill me, Jesse? Was it you?
Was it me?
What about you, Oliver?
Just gotta say, yes, it really, really speaks to a heartwarm character that you wanna slice people up like that,
Right?
Give them a nice haircut in the process, maybe. I think, it's actually been a running joke in the office for a while that, so I was part of the original 3 that started the Copenhagen office for Brightstar. And I think it really started with me and our sound guy, Yannick. we would during the day we would catch each other's eyes intensely, and then you knew what that meant. It was time for coffee.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have to speak about it. It was just intuitive. We would look at each other and know. And as more people joined, I kind of, recruited people for the daily coffee run.
The daily
So I
coffee
think
run.
if I could choose myself, and I would probably be the barista that comes running to you and serve you a hot cup of coffee in the cold Ediso weather.
Yeah, I was about to say, both your choices feel so immersive with your nation choices as well, because you're in like the cold nation of Ediso, and you'll be offering these Vikings coffee, because of course these Vikings drink coffee, right? And Jesse will be sitting in Duskrad in his sandy slice machine. Yes, the kill or be killed mantra. Yes.
Just to check, you're not serving in Discord, are you?
I might for my
Expand business a bit,
monthly
you know?
haircut,
Trade caravans with coffee. I was actually, last time we played the game, I was running, everybody was in the arena, right? Because there's already like 80% of Bright Stars are in the arena when we're testing, let's be honest, right? I was walking out of the arena, tired of getting killed. And I came to this like bridge C area, and I found a little building in the corner of it, and it honestly like looked like a barista shop, like a coffee shop. I don't know if you found this in the build. It was like a round building and had like kind of a sign where it looked like coffee and cream or something like that. Honestly, I was standing there looking at it, looked like a coffee shop. I was like, this is awesome. So I don't know. I kept thinking about that when you mentioned this, Oliver. I'll think of you.
Check that out, actually.
Yeah, next time we play, come with me to arena. We'll go out of the arena. I'll take you to the coffee shop, and Jesse, you can't come. You'll have to park. Yeah, you'll park. Okay, then you have to park your steel slice somewhere, because that's not going into the coffee shop. Guys, what gets your blood boiling in terms of like working in Bright Star? What gets you excited to be here? And let's start with you, Oliver.
Well, I guess it kind of goes back to I mentioned esports, and I think probably the game that I've played the most is League of Legends throughout the years. But second to that would be World of Warcraft, and I think really a lot of the elements of Ember Sword really reminds me of combining those two elements.
Yeah.
So I think that really interests me.
That's awesome.
I would say outside of that, it's probably working here on such an ambitious project kind of brings some quite unique challenges that is very fun to tackle and fun to learn from.
I love it. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, most of the days I'm definitely having a blast working on all kinds of systems and logic that interest me. So I'm very fond of MMOs, very fond of RPGs, and all combined. And secondly, my colleagues here, even though I work remote, I have a great connection with a lot of people actually, and it really feels like I'm in the office sometimes, just hanging out, even though I look to right and it's not the office, but yeah, and I'll occasionally pick up a few games after work with everyone, and yeah, games that I like that are quite similar that I play a lot are Dota, V-Rising, and so on.
That's actually super cool hearing it from you, because you've been remote since the beginning, right? Since the dawn of your time here in Bright Star. Yeah, so that's super cool to hear that it feels like, because I also agree. I'm working a lot of remote as well. I know you are at times as well, Oliver. And I get this feeling too, where it feels like we're in the same office, or it feels like we're in the same space. So that's super cool to hear. I think that's very important. We mentioned code as well, but like very important these modern days as well, right? Guys, moving into the Catscraft and code segment, which I've really been dying for. So walk us, noobs. Of course, I'm a noob. The viewers are not noobs. They know everything about code, I'm sure. But walk us through your day as a game developer. Walk us through what that looks like for you. Let's start with you, Jesse.
Yeah, so for me, the day starts in the early morning with a solid coffee, not served by the barista because he doesn't visit the Netherlands. Shame about that, to be honest. Leading up to a stand-up where within our cell we kind of update each other on our current progress and progress which is going to be ongoing for the next days, and if we have any blockers and so on. Following that, there is either some planned meetings or just focus time. So focus time is just where I work on various gameplay tasks, which is often the majority of my time. So yeah. and occasionally I would work with, for example, Oliver on tasks together, but often it's just writing it out alone.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, yes, actually, this this barista right here would love to visit the Netherlands office. If you just, we just gotta have a little bit of space for me for my work.
Yeah,
Can we arrange that?
we can arrange that. I'll just add another desk right here.
We'll make that happen.
That's pretty good. We don't have to be remote, yes.
Getting very intense. I like it. How about you, Oliver? Like, is your day like that?
Yeah, it's pretty spot on, really. I think Jesse covered it well. I guess if there's anything to add, while the majority of my work is probably in collaboration with Jesse, there is quite a bit of it that's also with other disciplines. So the artist or the sound guys or game design even. So I think that's probably the only aspect left to cover is sometimes when you get a feature to work on, you have to initiate these conversations across disciplines to align.
Yeah, that's probably also very, very important. Like in most games, but like definitely in MMO, right? Working across disciplines and across teams. Awesome, guys. Thank you. I know that previously, Oliver, you worked on a lot of abilities in UI. Can you take us through some of that? Perhaps we can show some examples at the end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have indeed worked on the abilities in the past a lot, and I think with an MMO like Ember Sword, the abilities are kind of core to a lot of the things that you do. So we started work on this quite early, and it was quite important for us to really get this right. But I think while saying that it's important to get it right, it's also important to kind of note that these things, they take iteration, and it's really hard to get right the first time. So and that's kind of the same with the abilities system. It's really been under a lot of different iterations, and for each of these, it's also gone through all of the other gameplay programmers as well as for feedback and really combining our minds on it. But the reason why it's really important to get right is that for a game like Ember Sword, it kind of has some quite unique requirements really to fill. So for one thing, it's a network game, and maybe that's not as apparent as a gamer, but this is really one of the things that can be quite difficult to get right. Because there is like some people might be connecting from Australia and others from the US or Europe, and it's really important to get these connection differences right. And then, of course, everybody wants the game to run smoothly, so gotta make sure it's not slowing down your FPS as well. So that's really been the majority of like iterating over this and getting that right. And at the same time, I guess going back to the conversations I spoke about previously, talking to game design was probably gonna be designing a lot of abilities using it. So yeah, a lot of conversations, a lot of iterations, but it's super interesting.
Let's
I think
just.
we had like, I think we had like 3 or 4 reworks on abilities, right?
Yeah.
Before this.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah.
Let's just change scenes actually, because let's show something, guys. Let's keep our viewers on their toes. So, you're talking about UI, Oliver. And if you're okay with it, I'll just show. I have this from an old work in progress video, Wednesday video, where you can see like the UI shift, right, all the way back from 2018, 2022, March 2023, July 2023, and then of course we also have a new UI to show, but kind of like, as you said, iteration on iteration on iteration, right? And probably also feedback from the players through the alpha tests, the tech demo tests, etc. And then I have something here, which is probably the first time you are seeing it. Hopefully not you, Oliver and Jesse. Which, which is like a picture of the new UI, right? That we're moving towards. I don't know. Do you have any specific comments on this, Oliver?
I guess it's really important to note the iteration process. But I think it's also cool to kind of see how at different stages, different levels of completeness, if you will, is kind of the focus. So in a lot of the early stages, you really mostly have the UI there as well to kind of get an idea, to kind of see if it reads.
Yeah.
But I think with what you're showing now, it's kind of cool to see how now it's also about visually tying it together and creating something more cohesive.
I was about to say something I really like with cohesive, and I know this is not from the game. This is a concept of UI that we are moving towards, right? But what I really, if I understand it correctly, but what I really like here in this concept is like, there's like new VFX, there's new combat UI, and especially the combat UI. It really makes me, and I've already seen a lot of those things in game, right? But it really makes you feel more like the feedback loop is more. I want to say immersive, but at least responsive, right? And you feel like you are more and more into this loop, right? That you can just keep doing, you can just keep hacking, keep slashing. You know, this is never going to be boring. And I know Max talked about that as well. It's very important to find that smooth. It's probably very tricky as well, but very important to find that balance, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess one more thing.
Yeah.
If I like,
please.
It's also important for me to kind of like, even though I've been the one talking about this, I know that, for instance, Jesse, as he said, like we've pretty much been here the same amount of time, and we have been on so many things. And I think Jesse can probably agree that the same kind of changes that you saw with the UI has kind of gone through the entire game as a whole. So like seeing for this as well, we went back and looked at old content. And it's just really fun seeing this iterative process going through.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's and also when you just see stuff coming together in a much better, smoother way, it just feels more, pleasing. Finishing your work.
Yeah, when I see stuff like this and how it's also, we can just show the old one again. It also makes me nostalgic because, as you guys said, I've also been there for a long time. We've been there for over 2 years, right? All three of us. But also yeah, exactly. It's we are veterans, guys. We
we forgot to mention you as well, Thor. That's actually we've all here at the same time.
Yeah. It's actually pretty close to each other, right? That we joined. I'm the last of the three of us, but it's pretty close to each other actually, and it's nice to see this journey. Obviously, like those waiting to play the game, not that we are also waiting to play the game, will be like, hey, we gotta arrive at the end result, right? So it's not only about the journey, right? Because obviously I think maybe it's more about the journey for us and those special players who really care about the journey and the test, right? But for a lot of people, it is about the goal. Of course, it has to be, right? It is about launch. It is about getting it out there, right? But within MMO, there's also like the truth of like it's never really done because there's like always more to add, always more content to add. But I think specifically, and again, Max has talked about it before, specifically this feedback loop has to be right? And it's awesome to see that we are working so much on that, working so much on like the feedback loop, the UI. Does it feel right? Does it not feel right? Last time, and I know we're not going to play the game today, guys, but for example, last time I played the game, I had a critical hit. And it was like some of the examples you can see here, like there was a nice response to it, and a new combat feedback came up and said like you critted this much, and it was like bigger than the rest of the damage numbers, and I had a really nice feeling. I was like, I got really warm and fuzzy inside. I was like, hey, I critted, I love this, which is awesome, right? This is like, we love playing games, and these are some of the small things which like makes you feel good, right? It's sad for this Clawbot that I critted on, but you know, that's life, right? For Clawbot. That's just life. Likewise, Jesse, I know that you have worked a lot on, and you talked about AI, right? So this is actually also the red thread back from that, but like on creatures and bosses, and maybe you can take us through some of that. I'll kind of put on a video while you're talking.
Yes, that's right. I worked on a lot of the abilities the bosses perform and the AI controlling the bosses. And well, you can see some of the imagery is some very basic starts of the abilities. So they got designed, and then we just tried some technical functionality to get them to run.
Yeah.
And then from there on, the designers can get to make them look nice. Otherwise, you get what you see here, for example.
Wait, this is brilliant, right? This is program art.
It's exactly, it's programmer art. It's just a block out for the ability, and it functionally does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
It just needs to be visually tweaked a little bit more. It's almost there, but could at least a little spice.
I love these. I love
and
these.
The loot bag vortices. It's just a squished loot bag, like pancake mode.
How does these things happen? Yeah. You're adding functionality, and then suddenly you're like, I need a placeholder for this, all right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you're like, oh yeah, I need the vortex. Well, I guess you can just grab a loot bag and just smash it, and then I got one initially, right?
Yes.
But I really enjoy. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, just like I really enjoy having Jesse on the programming team as well, because he actually comes from an art background a little bit.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So of the programmer art,
beautiful
yes, has definitely contributed.
State of art programmer art.
Share.
Yeah. Oh
it looks gorgeous.
You guys, you recognize these two guys in chat. You recognize these two fellows, right? Because you should definitely recognize these two. we have Canavar, right? If my eyes are not deceiving me, and we have Shock, right?
Exactly. We have Canavar, and he's exploded a bit in size as well. He looks kind of tiny here. As he got quite a bit bigger. But yeah, I really enjoy seeing AI come to life, and it was really great seeing, like, watching Shock destroy so many players, but also beautifully get beat in a very fast pace by other players, right? So that was good to see. Yeah.
That's true. It's definitely like, sorry, all I can think about when I'm seeing this is like all those sad citizens in Millread just running around fearing for their life while you're testing out, battling Canavar in the middle of the street. But you're true. It's
many boars died.
Yeah, exactly. Many invisible boars. No, it's true. It's probably that balance, right? That you want people to probably also die to Canavar, which a lot of people did, right? And even more died to Shock. Let's not talk about that. But you also want them to beat it, right? So it's probably this like balance. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. All right, I love this. Let me just see here. When I think about... Oh, sorry, did you have anything more to add to this, Jesse?
No, I think this is...
Okay, then I know that you have worked... Oh my gosh, I have so many things I want to talk about. I know you've worked a lot on crafting and gathering as well, especially, if I understand correctly, back in the days, and then maybe we'll transition over to Oliver. But talk us through that a little bit, Jesse.
Yeah, so on the side before Ultra Deep, we also had some time to get into crafting, and we used the crafting mechanics to equip yourself the armor that you need for Ultra Deep, but also the quests were to convey a small part of the story that we wanted to tell. And for example, we built a quest tracker UI to convey this story, but also it's going to be used in the main game world when we're done with Ultra Deep. So it's not like work that's just for temporary, it's just work that can be used after Ultra Deep as well. Yeah.
I have a little thing I want to play, and especially when I think of, it's the same when I was talking with Pia. Whenever I talk to you developers and seeing how you go mad scientist on this world, I just have a little thing. It's the mad scientist. I mean, you are the mad scientist, right? And I mean, it's great to hear, Jesse. I also recognize that Canavar got stuck in a barn or something like that. That's cheating. But there was two of him, so it's okay. It's okay. He had a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
I think also like with the mad scientist, I mentioned how like me and Yannick would get those eye contacts.
Yeah.
But I think with me and Jesse, it's also like whenever we had like some code that we knew, like maybe this is not entirely what the task was about, you know? A little DM comes into the other guy, it's like, listen, I got a thing.
It's definitely true. I feel like the level of banter going on in programming is sometimes scary. Like there's something going on there we don't understand. You're both coding a language we don't understand, but there's also some chemistry going on there that's like, I love it. I love it. Genius levels. All right, guys, moving on. We mentioned before that we work in a I'll just keep Canavar running. Hey, see, he's stuck in the barn again.
Yes.
We work in a cell structure where you work in cross-craft teams to accomplish certain development goals, and that's amazing. But Jesse, maybe you should add a bit on what you're spending your time on lately.
Yeah,
in present time?
Currently I'm working in a cell which is iterating on player controls, such as using WASD to control the character and having lots of freedom. So like you have the orbital camera, so you can really control the character to a maximum. And I think we should see that in the video on the stream. And I mentioned the cell earlier. So what this means is that for each larger goal, we define like a cell with some skills and crafts we require. And imagine we want a feature in the game, and this we need a UI artist, we need a gameplay programmer, an audio designer, and that would basically be a small cell for a feature, and they do their thing.
You guys, okay, EasyJoff just commented. I was like, how long can we go before people comment? This should be pretty exciting. Yeah, now we're seeing more reactions to it. This is brand new, and this should be something you have not seen before. This is a new angle. This is new movement. I think it's really immersive. I think it's incredible. It's a whole different feeling to playing Ember Sword, to fighting PvP, PvE, to being in the arena. Walking around the world, I talked about finding that barista shop, which I think is a coffee barista shop. Artists, please don't murder me. But it's just a whole different feel. It makes you want to wander around, walk around. Jesse and Oliver, I think this is incredible. I'm giving you all the honor right now here on stream.
It's totally different than what we saw in Ultra Deep. It plays very different, but I think we can agree with that most people definitely like it. Within the cells and whatnot.
And somebody's chat is because it's the eternal debate. We've surely had in a company as well about, is it right click movement, probably more from MOBA, right? Or is it the WASD movement, probably more seen in MMOs, right? And Oliver, you also talked about it, and Max has talked about it, boy. It's the fusion, right, of some of these game design elements, some of these movement elements like MOBAs and MMO, the future of MMOs, and how does that look, right? And yes, we have moved towards WASD, and to my knowledge, is WASD we're going with, right? But it is work in progress. I can see them there nodding. So sorry, guys out there who really like the right click MOBA. But I think what you got to recognize here is it's not just the movement; it also changes the angle, right? It changes the isometric view, it changes the immersion, and that's really what sells it for me, right? This is incredible. Now we're walking around with guns. And guys, this is a test build as well, so that's why what you're seeing is definitely not lore and world building accurate. You're not necessarily going to find these creatures in these biomes in the game. We're just running around fighting stuff. All right, Oliver, moving on to you. I know it's probably very early to reveal some of these things, but I'm pushing you guys anyway. What is happening in the development build currently, and what are you busy with these days and nights?
Right. Lately, I've been working a lot on polishing up gathering as well, and the whole resources kind of loop. And I think part of that process as well, and I guess this ties into one of the things about like showing stuff like this is that what's really going to be interesting as well is having you guys, the community, try this, because we definitely test some stuff internally, but it's only really when it gets to your hands that we really see how it is. And that's really also why lately that for instance, gathering, as you see here on the screen, we're kind of testing with users actually about some visual clarity about it, making sure it reads well. So a lot of it is really about, we kind of have resources that you can gather and use for crafting, but let's make it feel really nice. And making sure that even as a new player, this reads well to you and you know what to do. So that's really been a big focus. And I think that's also why the UI work that I'm also working on is kind of progressing, to make sure that the UI now becomes very crisp and readable, and making sure that it fits together.
And
but yeah, really looking forward to
and you say
seeing this go.
It's all coming together, right? As you said, like it's all like it's the UI, it's the movement you're working on, Jesse, it's the gathering that you're working on, Oliver, probably working a lot together with other teams as well. And it's just really taking this. It is probably also, or should be, the natural step towards beta, right? Which we'll talk more about later. But like that step of like making it all come together, take all the things you've learned, make it, as somebody's saying in chat, like you can really feel that the game is getting there, right? Which I think is an awesome feeling to get from one of the players, because this is what's happening, right? This is what's happening now in this natural transition. It's all coming together. It's getting there. And it's been a long journey, but it's definitely worth it, right? Once we see the pieces starting to come together. And yeah, the feeling just gotta be there, right? You gotta remember, if you love a game, you're gonna be spending so many hours in that game, right? And it gotta just feel right. It gotta feel nice to chuck down those trees, right? To mine those ores, to hit those boards. It has to feel right. Cool. People still talking about controls.
I think just a quick thing to add there is that regarding like testing some of these features as well, because we do it quite a lot internally and really do it company wide, and I think it's also a blessing that we have a company that's also quite diverse.
Yeah.
So when we show some of these features, some of us maybe come from games where WASD movement is really obvious, right?
Yeah.
But for other people, it feels super unnatural, and it's good to kind of align there.
Yeah, because we talked about earlier, like how you, for example, you've spent a lot of time in League of Legends, and I'm definitely guilty with that as well. And I know, Jesse, you spent a lot of time in another MOBA game called Dota.
Another one.
Another one. So
one will not be named.
Yes, exactly. One that shall not be named. But so I definitely think I would prefer the right-click movement in general. But I think what really again sold me here was the angle and the immersiveness it brings to it. Right. I think that's really a nice angle. Talking about angles, guys. What does challenges look like in your team? I know you're super good. You never have something that's hard, but like, give an example of something that ended up being super difficult that you didn't anticipate it to be. Because I feel like that's sometimes the world of programming is like, nah, I can do this in 1 hour, and then okay, that took a lot longer, and that was a lot more difficult. Can you give us some examples? Maybe you, Jesse.
Honestly, there's been a lot of examples. It's just it's kind of random when it happens, because it's gonna be a short task, and then it turns up into like some really long task. And I guess if you show like the montage that you want to show, then
we could pull it up. All right, let's go. Let's go, guys. We will change to a little bug montage that we have prepared to you. So enjoy.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Hours later. One eternity later.
Oh, it was about to play there again. Oh my god.
Yeah, so as you can see there, it's game programming can be quite hard. So things that seem trivial, changing someone's clothes, in the character creator, it just turns into this.
When the assets come together at the final frontier that is gameplay.
I had some audio issues, so I lost you there for like 30 seconds. But when I came back, the last thing I hear was us coming together for the frontier of game development, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful words to come back to, guys. So you whatever you said might not have been on stream, but it's about bugs, so it's okay. How meta to talk about bugs and then a bug happens, right? In the audio system. That's a bit meta. So guys, bugs happens to community managers as well. Oh my god, guys, I love this bug montage. We got to do more of those. This is a gem, honestly. Like whenever I see this, I laugh.
Kudos to the editor as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordan, our editor. This is amazing. Thank you, Jordan, for giving this to us. I didn't know I needed this. Oh my god. Cool. Oliver, do you have anything to? Oh, I guess you were talking about the Final Frontier, but do you have anything to add to these bugs or stuff that happens when it happens, right?
Yeah, nah. I think magic just happens on screen and you can see it. It's right there.
Yeah,
it's nice. What I will say is that it was actually really fun finding these clips. I know me and Jesse, we save a lot. But I talked to Mike, our QA. And apparently he has 24 gigabytes of just bug videos, so like there's definitely gonna be more good bug videos, at least internally there.
So that's where we're gonna go next.
Those.
Okay, you prepare for that for the next dev stream. That's where we're gonna go. We're gonna loot Mike's bug folder.
Bug stash.
Yeah, exactly. All right. While we talk about the next chapter, I'll just put the new movement on as well, because then we can kind of watch that. So, what's the most interesting thing that you usually do, Oliver?
So I would say that it's really invisible to a lot of you, but it kind of ties back into the iterative process that we talked about. Which is that it's just like this project is really complex, of course, and ambitious. And during the journey here, we also learn a lot as we go. And I think it's like the most interesting thing is just taking something you made 2 years ago with a lot less knowledge and now recreating that with the knowledge that you now have. Naturally, of course, we only do this when it makes sense, because we also have a game to give you guys, right? But when we really do it, it feels super nice.
Yeah.
I guess one example there is Gathering, right? Gathering is made quite early in Ember Sword, I guess, and now you're reworking it to a new state.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's true. And I guess for you as well with the camera and movement.
Yeah, I guess it's the same. Yeah.
What's the most interesting thing for you then, Jesse?
So I really like designing gameplay systems, and well, really, most interesting I think is just writing code and seeing how things react with each other. And I honestly, believe that is, one of the most interesting things I do.
It's good that you like what you do. That probably only makes it better, right? It's very nice when you have a passion for what it is that you are, as you already said, Oliver, be doing like 8 hours a day or more than that, right? And it's good to also have a passion for it. That kind of just helps. To anyone watching right now, and this is also like a stable question we ask on this dev stream, who wants to do what you're doing, what do you want to say to them? And let's continue with you, Jesse. What would your advice be to them?
So I think that in order to get to a stage where you're working as gameplay programmer, I think that persistence is very very much key in working in games, and also having fun. Like if you have fun, then you want to naturally learn more about these things. And I do a lot of hobby projects for fun and tinkering on the side, and that really gives you a lot of experience. And well, if you enjoy it, you just keep going and you'll get there for sure. So
Awesome.
Yeah, spot on, really. Really just that, just keep going at it and try to make it fun. And I guess the other thing which kind of ties into the fun part is try to meet people who wants to do the same thing as you. First of all, it will just make it more fun, but you can also share ideas and help each other.
Cool. That's awesome, guys. I've heard that there are some quirks of your legendary code duo. So maybe Jesse, you wanna share some of those quirks I've heard about? I've heard rumors. I hear stuff.
Yeah. So we have a lot of days where me and Oliver, we get into a meeting and we're like, okay, we have to fix a couple of bugs, and then we have this list of like, a good few things to do, and we're generally just, well, I'm remote, so we just get our headphones on and we just start going at it, figuring out what could trigger these side effects and how to tackle them. And we are generally like really excited if we fix it, and then we keep going, and we just have like this 6 hour, or okay, not necessarily 6 hour with no break, but just like this hour-long session where we fix bugs, and we are kind of loud. And I guess Oliver is in the office, and they can kind of hear, it's getting louder, and the
Yeah.
volume comes up. And then at some point, I went to Copenhagen office as well, and then I took my desk there. Went to get seated, and then I was actually kind of silent, like kind of quiet as a person. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a complete opposite as when you're online. You're just like really loud, and you can just kind of, and then
It was the
versus
funniest
the reality.
thing, really. Like
Well,
everybody at the office jokingly was like, "Oh,
it's gonna be
we
loud.
are gonna be in the same room
What have we done?
all day." It was the first time Jesse was visiting the office as
Yeah.
well, and like we were just nice and quiet, sitting next to each other,
Fine.
not really-
fixing
Yeah, this
fixing
is
our
fun.
things, doing our job.
Being on your best behavior. I like that.
Mm. I think it doesn't help that we have noise canceling headsets on
no.
as well when we do it.
No. It's the same here in the studio. I can see people walking around outside. I'm probably being very loud sitting here with
Screaming at
these,
them,
with these webcams. People are like, what's happening in there? Is something wrong? No, it's just me streaming. So Jesse, to wrap this segment out, we got to talk about the cats. And I don't know if you have any of the infamous or famous cats for us to showcase, but I know that you have some companions, some furry companions in your life.
I do indeed. Actually, I can showcase them, I guess.
Oh,
Just call them a little bit. It's very easy to call them if you just grab some
I'll just
some
change them.
snacks. You just get one cat here.
Oh,
This is Dusty,
hello, Dusty.
a big gray cat.
Beautiful cat.
And we have Finn,
Hello, Finn.
white ragdoll, and I guess I have to give them snacks now.
Yeah, exactly.
they're-
You cannot just bait them. You have to give them
Yeah,
snacks.
exactly. Otherwise, they won't follow anymore.
Yeah.
So they are very much model cats, and they know it.
This is nice.
And they are very good at sleeping.
Yeah. Next time we
That's
should
their
have
main calling.
we should have a stream cam for the cats next time. So it's Finn
Yeah, I
and
should have,
Dusty,
yes.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh my god, that's cute. And they are probably a tremendous asset in the coding of the game of Ember Sword, right?
They are basically the game director, because if something is too loud, well, the speakers are on and the cat gets scared,
Yeah.
then it's too loud.
I like that. The cat director, I like that. All right, that's cool. Okay, and you said they're good at sleeping. Oh, that's good. I think cats sleep a lot, right? They are super active when they're active, right? But then it's just like they sleep for like 90% of their life or something like that. It's insane. And
They
I,
sleep a lot.
yeah, and I have a feeling that it's usually when you want to sleep that they are active. Like that's at least how I remember having cats. Like now I want to sleep. Now the cat wants to be active. Thank you. Nice.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
When you want to sleep, they start running around
Yes, exactly.
full zoomies mode.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Thank you for showing us Finn and Dusty. You don't have a cat, right? Yet, Oliver, right?
Not yet. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take Dusty when I visit the Dutch office.
Yeah, steal Dusty for the office. Yeah.
It's true.
Guys, we have come to the giveaway segment. So let's see if I can make this work. So, and you might have seen something happening somewhere right now as well. And that is something where if you want, I'm trying to be very elusive. If you want to win, you should take that and you should write it in chat right now. You should definitely do that. I'll just keep this on for a couple minutes, 5 minutes maybe. You should definitely write in chat.
Can I do it as well?
You, no, you can't. Well, you actually can, but it won't pick you as a winner. But you shouldn't. I have put so that mods and bright stars can't win. Yeah.
Is that bachelor in programming you are you're using there?
Yes, exactly.
damn.
I'm using my amazing skills. And yeah, it was actually, it's a bachelor in a program called Mediology. So it was like an introduction to animation, to image processing, to programming, to all kind of things, yeah. I think if I had to pick something, an audio processing as well. So it's like, and then you have to build on top, right, with a master's and like pick your speciality. And I didn't do that. I jumped into product management instead. I was like, no, survive the bachelor, not going to survive the master's. But I think if I had to pick something, I actually liked animation the most. I think that was actually pretty cool. Image processing and animation, that was actually pretty cool. Coding, never saw the light, guys. For me, it was just a dark tunnel. So yeah, no light.
The animation bugs didn't scare you away there.
No, it didn't.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just dark to me. I didn't see the light.
We'll pull you in next time.
Yeah,
We'll grab you.
You definitely don't want me writing code for Ember Sword. That's gonna. I know we have a very high bar for like. I don't think.
Switch roles for a day, you know.
Yeah, I don't think Joris will be happy.
We should put you in like a Rococo suit, making animations as well.
Yeah. Jesus. All right, let's see here. Let's see if this is working. Okay. Roll it. Let's see here. I'm playing around with something, guys. You have to entertain.
We have to.
I guess I could get the cats.
Yeah, we need another cat.
Oh my god.
We need another cat. I don't have any more. It's your turn.
All right, we got one. It was actually, I think, maybe the last one to write it in. Whoa! Sometimes it is good to be the last one. Nightbot picked the winner. It's Graveless Gods who has won the giveaway. Congratulations, Graveless Gods. Was an amazing name. And let me just see if I can contact you. Whisper. I'll whisper you, Graveless Gods. Let's see here. All right, Graveless God, please whisper me. Please whisper Ember Sword here on Twitch. Or you can find me on Discord, Game Master, because apparently I can't whisper you right now, but we'll sort that out later. You have won. Congratulations. You have won a 1-year subscription to Nitro Premium on Discord, which means you can go into our community and you can go crazy. You can write longer messages. You can add bigger file sizes. You can do everything. There's emojis, everything. It's crazy. Congratulations. And it's actually, we'll get into a habit right now of every developer stream will pick at least one Nitro winner, guys. So, and we'll continue with these codes if you think it's funny. So stay tuned for the next developer stream, and we'll find a new winner. Let me just take screenshots of this while I remember, so we can find you later. Graceless Gods definitely needs to get your prize. All right, guys, let's move on. So we have got a Q&A, and we have handpicked some questions for you here at the end of the stream. And the first question, which I have, is I always start with the most wholesome question I could collect, and this time it was from Nexus 0, who says, "How are you? How are you guys?"
Great.
That's a tough one. Doing good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nexus. Hope you're good.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome question, isn't it? Very very tough, putting you right on the spot. Then we get deep questions. Yes, thank you. Then we have a tougher question. It's from Ivo Mandinga, who says, "When will the game be released?" So, this is perhaps one of the most dreaded questions in all of game development, I anticipate. But we actually have an answer for it, because later this year, 2024, we have an early access of Ember Sword launching somewhere in Q4. So it's not waiting long anymore. So 2024, There's an early access to play in Ember Sword. It's going to be crazy. It's why I said this year is monumental, right? And it is insane. And we're looking so much forward to it. So thank you for that question. Then we have a question for one of our community favorites. I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I really like this individual. It's Ronnie. Thank you, Ronnie, always for submitting great questions. What games inspire you when you are building Ember Sword? So, guys, take it away. What games inspire you?
Do you want to start on this one, Jesse?
Sure, yeah. So I think we mentioned briefly a couple of games before, right? So games that inspire me in particular is games like Dota, V Rising, Guild Wars. I'm a huge fan of those games, so yeah, and I like to play them. Like all throughout the year. So I've been playing Dota for I don't know, like 10 years, and then sporadically, and yeah, it's you can get kind of similar feelings. Like Dota was kind of similar in Ultra Deep, like a bit more than right now, right? But you can iterate on that, and yeah, these games are really fun for me. So
Completely agree. I guess I would have to add League of Legends there as well for myself. Other than that, I guess when building an MMO, you also look at other MMOs and see what they're doing. So, of course, I've played a lot of World of Warcraft during my time, so I think that helps. But I guess other newer MMOs as well. We had Albion and what was the one that you and Martin played? What is it that's called?
it's a New World, I guess.
New World, right? Yeah, we looked at that as well. Yeah.
I also enjoyed Arcade, even though it has some pros and some cons, and some more pros than cons and whatever. But yeah.
And we also got
Sandboxy games.
we also got Sam, Lawmaster Darth Bodo in chat, mentioning some of the games that the lore was inspired by. Thank you so much. Shout out Sam. And brilliant answers, by the way, brilliant games. There's really a lot of games to be inspired by. It's really about how you put those pieces together, right, and how you find your own balance. But I like how in Brightstar, every time I ask the questions, it is more or less some of the same answers, right? There's some cohesion there in terms of like some of the games we are drawing from, right? I love that. We have a question from Zodiac2929. Will the game have factions/guilds? I think I'll start up with that one. So we'll definitely have guilds. It is a little too early to talk specifically, about how it will look like. But since one of the pillar stones of the game is social, you can imagine there's going to be a lot of the focus on the guilds. And I think we've also talked about it a lot if you go back into the old podcasts with Joris and Sam, as I mentioned previously. So it's definitely going to be a tremendous focus on guilds, which is also something you'll probably see a lot more on as we go into beta. Then I don't know about factions, what you specifically mean with that, but we have the 4 nations, definitely. And then we are likely also going to have factions like in the game. But I don't know if that's something the players is going to be able to pick. But you can, for example, already, if you've played the alphas, you could fight the Broken Teeth Gang, I think they were called, which is like a faction of Duskers who've come into Solarwood. You could kill Matisse Golgador. And then obviously we have the 4 nation Duskers, the Edicians, the Solar Woodlings, and the Severendis, not to forget, of course. All right, guys, I don't know if you have anything to add about that. It's pretty early to talk about these things, but we will definitely have them, right?
Nah, I think you covered it pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah. Then we have a general community question. What inspired you to become a game developer? And you touched upon it a little bit, but like broadly, what, also from new viewers who are maybe in here now, what inspired you to become a game developer?
You start with that one, Oliver?
All right, sure. I guess really it's the journey that I kind of talked about in the beginning, about like in 8th grade I kind of looked towards myself and as an adult getting a job, and I realized that's 8 hours a day, and I wanted to use that on what I enjoyed the most, and at the time that was games. Still is. So I think that's been my main thing, just spending my time on the things I enjoy the most.
yeah, I didn't quite realize I'd be sitting here for like 8 hours a day as a programmer, but I did really like just how games played and how they got you hooked and how they can entertain you and also learn you new things, right? Uh, yeah, I also worked briefly on like a game that kids could play in primary school. And they teach you how to um, like traverse the internet, how to deal with hackers and all and like security online and stuff. And also seeing that, like just learning people new things through games was also very interesting.
So you're going to be our security analyst, because I sometimes get the questions, how are you going to protect us against bots? But here you have the answer. Jesse has worked with AI. He has crafted
Machine
bots.
learning.
Yeah, he knows how to fight these bots. He's the security analyst. Thank you, Jesse, for keeping Ember Sword fanbase safe. I love how so many working game development start with I like games. But sometimes it's that simple,
Yeah.
right? I like games, so I wanted to make games. It's sometimes it's
But
just.
I would also say that
Yeah.
it's not always that you have to end up as a programmer
No.
just because you like games. I mean, look at you, Thor.
Yeah.
Like,
I started also because of that
community
reason.
manager,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I studied political social science, I think, in Aarhus, and then I was like, this is not me, and I was like, hey, I like games. I default back to that. I like games. Maybe I should make games, but not as a programmer. You're right. So I'm, so no, you definitely don't need to end up as a game programmer. Although we do need game programmers as well. And if you are a game programmer, shout out to that. You can apply right now at Brightstar because we need you. All right. Curveball. So, general question from community. What software tools and coding languages do you use in your game development work?
So, in gameplay, we often use JetBrains Rider as our IDE for coding, and we program in C++. We're not entirely object-oriented programming like in Unreal, for example, but we're more data-oriented using an entity component system. So it's quite a bit different, but it was a pretty good transition actually when you knew, for example, Unreal and C++. It was, yeah, not a super hard transition, I'd say. What do you think, Oliver?
No, I agree, and I think even for, I guess, future programmers doing the same, I guess a lot of you will have experience with Unity's ECS as well, so you'll probably have an even easier time. But I agree. It was quite a smooth transition.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can see somebody's chat is saying ECS is awesome. Totally not biased. Totally. All right, guys. A question here from Kaijo9. Can I get token if I do not migrate my badge to IMX market? I hold 3 years. This question I'll send out to you, Jesse. No, I'm kidding. By the way, thank you for holding your badge. That's amazing. That's incredible. But no, you can't. So I'm so sorry, but and somebody in chat will tell me if I'm wrong. The mods will tell me instantly. But to register your wallet on our website, you have to migrate to IMX, and to be able to get the utility and get the tokens, you have to migrate to IMX. And we have been migrating steadily for 1.5 years, I think, and we officially ended the migration windows here at the end of November. But don't fret. If you haven't migrated yet, you can contact our support, and I'm sure somebody in chat will help you, some moderators, with the email of support, and you can contact them, and you can still get migrated ad hoc. It's just the official migration window is over. But we are definitely there to sort it out and to help you through support. We have a question from Ronnie again. Shout out to Ronnie. What gameplay features make Ember Sword stand out in your opinion? Oh, I feel like that's a tough question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess for me, it's that the game is, I guess the easy way to say it is the game is hard. But what I would elaborate with saying there is that, of course, you can learn the mechanics, and it's not meant to be so hard that you can't. But as many of you might have experienced in Ultra Deep, if you actually got hit by Kanava's abilities, it would take half of your health bar, if not more. And I think that's a pretty bold move that I don't see a lot of MMOs doing. So I really like that.
Yeah, that the game is definitely, and you would also expect it from a dungeon, right? Maybe not when you begin and you walk around Millread. We all know the meme of like the first boar or wolf you have to kill, right? Maybe that shouldn't one-shot you, right? Maybe that will be a bit of a learning curve. But like you're going into the Ultra Deep, right? You mean, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it will one-shot you. The boar.
Maybe the first ball will one-shot you. Maybe it's just...
We'll see.
You go out with your wooden sword and your like bucket on your head and you're like, hey, I'm an adventurer. The first ball.
And you get crushed.
Wrong. You're not an adventurer.
No, you're not. Go back. And not to talk about invisible boars, you should stay clear of those. Definitely don't get one-shotted by those. So we have a question from Quape, who says, if the server can be updated without maintenance, why not release the beta server now and update as the time goes on? So I'm not sure about if the server can be updated without maintenance, because I don't think it can per se, if I understand it correctly. But the gist of the question is correct. Why not release the beta server now and update as time goes on? As we have talked about earlier, we are throwing out the early access later this year. So it is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to throw out the early access. We're going to go live from that point on. We're going to keep updating, keep patching, keep developing. There's much more to work on. There's more nations in the future as well to expand on. So in Q4 this year, you can expect that build to go live in early access. And before then, if you watch our roadmap on our website in the white paper, there has been a beta test before then. So this is exactly what we're going for. Let's see here. Ronnie again says, can you please tell us about the development stages of an MMORPG and where Ember Sword is currently standing?
Maybe we can team tag this one, Jesse. I guess because I don't know if I will completely answer the question, so maybe Jesse can add in if I don't. But what I would say is that it kind of ties back to what Tor just mentioned about, like, for instance, releasing an early access build. Is that an MMORPG like this is really, it's like a huge world where you can do a bunch of stuff in it, right? That's what we typically think. And because of that, there's really a lot of different systems that we kind of have to get right. But I do think that some of these systems, for instance, can be added on later, as the previous question also mentioned. So I think where we are now, Ember Sword, would be taking a subset of the things that we want to deliver to you guys and just making it really, really great, such that even with those, you're not lacking anything, but then later on we can make it even greater. So really about more of the vertical sense right now, really fine-touching a subset of features.
I think that's very well said, to be honest. I think that's exactly where we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good answer that I could never have given. I think in layman terms, we are in late alpha right now, officially, right? We have been through a techno demo test, then we went into Alpha 1, Alpha 2, you can see all this in our roadmap, and then we are approaching, likely, somewhere between now and early access, a beta test, right? And then early access. You can see much more about this in the roadmap, but I think that's the boring answer. I think Oliver's answer is way more spot on from a game developer himself. We have a question from Ronnie again. What are the most important features to get right to have a great MMORPG? He's really firing the deadly questions here, I think. So guys, take it away. What are the most important features?
It's definitely a good question as well. So I think, like, for me, getting hooked into MMORPG is very important. So the feedback loop, leveling up, getting rewards. For me as well, the PvP content. I really like playing with the colleagues in the arena and slicing them up, as you do, right? And I also like that a world that keeps growing with new content. So like you hop in and there's new patch out with lots of stuff to do, and then you just go there and explore, and you see everyone else coming together to explore this bit of content. And yeah, I think that's a great MMORPG feeling, right? Like seeing everyone come together and exploring the new stuff. And yeah, that's.
I just love that you said slice them up, like going back to the.
I was
also... yes.
I was there with you. I was imagining Jesse sitting there. Oh my god, awesome. Do you have anything to add to that, Oliver, or no?
No, I agree completely.
Slice and dice. So, sorry, that's what I got out of it now. We have a question in chat from talking about slicing. Blade Manning. This game can get quite big. Pioneering means having uncharted territory forwards. How big does the team expect it to get? So first, right off the bat, I will say that in early access, right, it will probably not be, or it will not be the full size, right? We still have 3 entire nations, right, that we haven't expanded onto, and probably even a lot of solo world content. But I don't know, guys, can you get closer into some of this? The world will definitely be plenty big, is what I'm hearing from the game team. I don't know if there's more to add at this point.
Just to make sure I understood the question correctly, it's about how big the world is gonna get?
Yeah, I think
Was that correct?
as I understand the question, it's both how big the world will get, but also that this, as you've mentioned, it keeps evolving, right? And how we will tackle that. I think that is tackled in the nations well. Automatically, that will increase the world, right? But we can expect a big world, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I guess what I would say is there are already some ideas about how big the world is going to be to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because, of course, as Tor mentioned, we have the nations that we want to have in the world. So we kind of got to make sure that we have a somewhat idea.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is just going to be one of them to start with. So just imagine that, but at least 3 times that and more.
Yeah.
Is already planned.
And I think it's also a good point to mention that we also have the land plots, right? So I know some have done already, but if you go in and look at those land plots and what has been sold, you already get a kind of an idea, at least like some of the sizes these nations are gonna have, right? And then I kind of lost my thought there, but I had something to say. I don't know what it was. Sorry, guys. I have.
No, but it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Throwback, however, I see a question from Pygaro. I don't know what this is, but it says, "Ask Jesse." Normally, I wouldn't do this, but this seems specific, so I'm going to ask you, Jesse. Ask Jesse about bluefin fishing. He should want it in the game. What's that about, Jesse? Do you know what that's about?
Right. So I'm playing games with a couple friends.
Yeah.
Pygaro is one of them, and he has contracted this curse in a game, in Arcade actually, where you have a fishing mechanic. You go out with your boat, you go fishing in the ocean, and Arcade is created like you have 3 nations, and the nations play against each other. So I guess you have 2 nations, and you have pirates who play against each other and themselves.
Yeah.
And well, you go out to fish, and bluefin is the worst fish essentially. So you're quite unlucky to get a bluefin, but in theory you can get 6 bluefins in your ship. And what that did in this particular case is that, well, the moment he had his full ship, full of bluefin tunas, there was 3 massive boats with 100 players coming, and then they just raided us and sunk all our ships, and then we died. And then this has forever since then haunted us, and this will forever haunt us, unfortunately.
And lost your bluefins.
We lost our bluefins.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's disastrous.
It was a sad story.
A
really.
very sad story here at the end of the stream. All right, one of the last questions we have here, but then we will deal with the loss of the bluefins. So there's a general question here. Can you share some of your favorite... this is a very wholesome question, actually. Can you share some of your favorite projects you have worked on in Bright Star Studios and what they made them special?
I guess I could
I
take
guess-
this one from start
Sure,
because it
sure.
kind of lines up with the fishing. So actually,
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
right, we had a game jam within Bright Star, and well, we wanted to make a fishing minigame, and we're like, well, let's just do it. Let's see how it happens, and that's one of the more fun projects that started in Bright Star.
It's nice.
Was
Oh yeah, that was really good.
it was really fun.
The
Just everyone,
fishing minigame. Oh,
yeah.
I want that back.
There was bluefins in there as well, actually. True.
It's all coming together, guys. What about you, Oliver? Do you have...
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
For that, my team made like a marching band. That was also pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was essentially a very long-running animation that you could kind of do together with your friends. Inspired kind of by the Star Wars band, the jazz band.
oh my god, awesome.
But yeah, other than that, just I would say the ultra deep. I know, yes, I talked about it earlier, but seeing people just completely break all of
Smashed.
our assumptions about the game. Oh, that was
Yeah, that
was
as well.
beautiful.
The timings that people got on the speedruns. We were actually we had an internal team with Oliver and 2 other colleagues as well, where we would try to like speedrun it in a similar fashion.
Oh, you were on the
And
speedrun
we
team.
were like, yeah, exactly. We were both on the speedrun team, and then we were like, okay, we're pretty good, you know, and then we'll see how they can beat us.
yeah. All
Still
right.
took a day, but you know, they got it really far.
They got it really
And
far.
we were sweating about it as
yeah.
well. Like, like
Yeah.
so hard.
But I think that's the beauty, right? Even if you are a developer that are good at your own game, right? Which I think is beautiful in itself. There are players who are gonna be better, right? That's like ain't that
Way better.
Yeah, exactly. But that's beautiful, I think, right? And that's I like that. I like that about gaming. So I think here at the end, the last question could be to have a general community question saying, are there any hidden details or Easter eggs that you hope players will discover in early access? How about that, guys?
Well, I think it's a bit early to spill the beans, but now I really want to put Jesse in a soul pot, so gonna make that happen.
And we're gonna get the coffee shop in as well.
So coffee shop, Jesse in a sawbot, and bluefin fishing. All right, we got it.
That's right.
There it is.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. We are preparing to wrap up the stream. If you are curious about the progress of Ember Sword and what's going on here in 2024, I would implore you to join the Discord server, check out the latest news on socials, the end of year blog. You can go and rewatch the stream, or if you missed segments of it, in this stream we have showcased some brand new information about concept UI, feedback loop, movement, new gathering. It's all coming together. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And we are dying to show more of it to you and let you play it. But we'll need this time before the next playtest to put these things together. And it's going to be so incredible to invite you into this world and let you experience it like never before, right? You can also check out previous developer streams. We have an awesome one with art team. We have an awesome one with level design team. It's brilliant. I hope you like the work in progress bits and pieces that we showed you today. More is inbound. And I will also say that if you are more curious about what's happening here in the beginning of 2024, you don't have to wait long. Next Wednesday already, next week, the Work in Progress Wednesdays are relaunching again for 2024. And not only that, but in the next Work in Progress Wednesday, on Wednesday, we are also telling you a little bit about another project that we have coming up on the social and community front, which I won't spoil the name, but it will be mentioned in that Work in Progress Wednesday. So plenty of things coming your way here as we're getting into high gear in 2024. So here at the end, Oliver, Jesse, let's start with you, Oliver. Do you have anything you want to say here at the end to the community?
Just really looking forward to seeing you all in early access and seeing how you're gonna break all my assumptions again about how the game is played. So looking forward to it.
Yep, indeed that. And also thank you for tuning in, of course. And I probably would love to hop on another interview sometime down the line, you know?
Absolutely. I think
Absolutely.
and that's good to hear, by the way, that we haven't scared you off. So that's good, guys. It's been so brilliant to have you here. Thank you so much for your time. I will let you get back to the coding world and the cat world. Thank you for showing some of your amazing craft that you've been working on in the matrix of Ember Sword. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And let's end with always, I think, one of the coolest cinematics ever, the shock cinematic, as we wrap up today's stream. Thank you so much, everybody.
I've always tried to guide and protect you. But how many times, how many worlds has it been? I gave you everything, but I was foolish to think that I could change you. That you could rise above the mistakes of the past. You have the power to create marvelous wonders. And instead, you create monsters. And turn everything into rubble and ash. I'm not going to save you. I'm going to end you!